Hey guys, this is JC Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about battle rap as an industry and the companies that are in the industry of battle rap. So, a little background history battle rap has always been a fixture in rap. It's been around for as long as I could remember. You've had famous rappers and well established rappers like Eminem, Jay Z, and a lot of other ones who have battled before, and you have huge names like Drake, even like basketball players like Kevin Durant who've went to battle rap events. So battle rap has always been well respected in rap and hip hop and really black culture, to be honest. So the companies in the battle rap industry that I'm going to touch upon are going to be URL, RBE, and a little bit of King of the Dot. And I say a little bit because King of the Dot's in a whole different country. It has a different fan base, and I'm not really up to date on the going-ons of King of the Dot as a company and as a league. But they are a huge component to the growth and development of battle rap uh, uh, as a culture and as an industry. So I do have to mention them. And but the main reason I wanted to mainly focus on URL and RBE is because of the competition that's been going on with the two brands. And for RBE, you have the founders. Let me restate that. For URL, you have the founders being Smack White, Eric Beasley, and Chico. And URL is the longer running company, is the more well established one, is the front runner in the industry of battle rap. And for RBE, you have ARP, Shada. They're the two co-founders, and on their site it says Lawrence is a partner, so I don't know what his role is, but he has a big role in RBE. And RBE is kind of the new ones in the industry, and they're the ones that are kind of coming from behind and trying to take that front, the first place in the race to become number one in battle rap. And competition is not necessarily always bad. Competition can be very rewarding to both parties if they play it right. You look at companies like Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and they're both like, which one's better, Coke, Pepsi? I can't tell the difference. Whatever it may be, they use competition so that both their name brands can be seen by a lot of people. Um, if you had Pepsi, you probably know what Coke is. If you like Coke, you probably know what Pepsi is. So their names are synonymous with one another, but they use each other so that they get more eyes on their soft drinks. You have but you have certain companies like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes who are in competition, but they don't necessarily kind of play into it. More so their fans or their supporters. Um, and in business, we call them stakeholders. Those are the people that want to see the company do well. They're the ones that are kind of saying, "Oh, Chick-fil-A is better. No, Popeyes is better," and they're the ones kind of facilitating the competition, and that's also good because you're building your fan base, you're building your home base, so that they're like, my industry is better, and they're more likely gonna go and support you more in order to get the one off on the other competition, and that's not bad necessarily. When competition becomes bad is when you mainly just focus on competing against the other person and you're not focusing on growth. Like those industries either lightheartedly compete against one another or they're so similar in what they produce that they're going to be competition, but they're always more so staying focused on what their company is pushing out. And that's what you want to do. You do competition's not bad. you can facilitate competition in a way that it's beneficial for your company, but you always want to stay on track of what your company is producing and what your company is pushing out. And I just wanted to say that I know it's very like daunting to listen to all that, but that is kind of where URL and RBE is in. They could either use this competition and kind of skyrocket both their brand names. They could be like, what is it, Hatfields and McCoy? I forget those two feuding Southerners, two groups of like people that used to fight back in the day. But they could grow their brand name based off of like them competing against one another, or they could tear the other down, or they could mainly focus on tearing one person down while not watching their kind of not watching their company. And with this competition, I can the way I could see RBE winning, and I'll do it this way. The way I could see RBE winning is if they continue to keep keep momentum. They don't go and do something reckless, or they don't go and do something and try to pounce on URL. If you're fighting from behind, you want to be able to keep your fan base while bringing new ones on. If you do something out of the ordinary, you might lose your fan base, and that risk of losing your fan base to a bigger company, you don't really have that much leeway in order to kind of you don't have that much time in order to gain them back again. So if RBE keeps putting out good events, if RBE keeps keeping their name in the battle rap news, around the battle rap bloggers, keep their relationships good and stuff like that, they're able to kind of keep momentum with URL. And if they build enough credibility around the industry, they can put themselves in a position to then go on the offensive with URL. And if URL does things like look at the caffeine app, I don't see that as going as well as they planned it to, of course. But I kind of see that more so as a negative than a positive. I think it can become a positive in the future. It's only one event. It could go amazing in the future, but that night I feel like the winner, since they both had their same events on the same nights, I feel like the winner was RBE, and that's because they were consistent in what they delivered. You pay for the VOD or whatever they have. You watch the videos. You know if you pay for it, you're gonna get a good stream, and that's it. With the URL transition into caffeine with a partnership with Caffeine and Drake, you didn't know what you were gonna get, and it didn't live up to expectations. It actually went way below expectations because you couldn't. Some of the streams was I tried listening to it. It was cutting out. You had to go to Drake's stream sometimes to catch it and stuff like that. So really the experience wasn't what URL has been putting out. And that, if RBE was a little bit closer, that would have been a good time for them to transition into offensive mode and start putting out great events and kind of like fostering like, hey, we're the company you can depend on basically to give you great content. That would have been a great time for that. But RBE is still kind of climbing that mountain. URL is at the top. I'm not here to play any politics. They are at the top right now. And RBE, if they were a little bit closer, that would have been the time for offensive, for them to go on the offense. Now, if I'm unbiased, so I'm gonna go with how URL can kind of like shoot to a point where there's no longer any competition around. So two scenarios I could think of is, one would be if another good thing was the caffeine app. I said it was a negative, but that's just the event. I think partnering with Caffeine and getting a bigger company to show your videos and kind of tapping into a new audience, that could be great for URL if it goes well. So if they're able to grow with caffeine, if caffeine's able to kind of compete, I know they're not going to compete with Netflix that much, but if they're able to get as many, maybe they get a huge YouTuber, maybe a KSI, Logan Paul, or a PewDiePie to go on there and say, I'm using caffeine now. Now that you have URL, you have them, you have like a bunch of different people, you're able to compete against maybe like other streaming services. You've seen what was it, Ninja, and for the battle rap fans that are probably watching this video, Ninja's he's a gamer, and then he didn't want to use I forget the streaming service to play video games on. He used a completely different one, and he, off his name recognition alone, he kind of grew that brand with him. So if caffeine does that and brings in more influencers, then I think that's a good place for URL to be in, so that they are kind of getting their name out further into like the industry, into like mainstream. Another way I could see URL kind of increasing their lead is if, and this might be a stretch, but if they buy out the other leagues. Um, let's say like they give you King of the Dot a lump sum of whatever to the founders, and they buy out King of the Dot. Now I know this is sacrilege. I'm not here going against anyone's favorite league or anything. This is just strictly business, and that would be a way for them to grow their span, to grow their reach in battle rap, while also cutting out competition that would be detrimental to their company's growth in the future. If they're able to buy out King of the Dot, if they're able to buy out RBE, and I know ARP stands on integrity, so I'm not saying that's something he would allow, but for URL that would be an amazing way to kind of expand their reach and really solidify them as the battle rap league. And I do like the competition. I guess a good middle ground would probably be a merger between the three, where they all kind of like form a kind of battle rap console, and they're able to kind of independently still run their companies, but all three of them would come together as one industry, one huge company. And I feel like that would be like something I would like to see. It would cut out the competition completely, and I feel like it would basically be a battle rap monopoly, since the smaller leagues are nowhere near those three. And it would be great for the league owners, but horrible for the battle rappers. So that would be something else that could happen between the three companies. I see battle rap having a very bright future if these, and I can't even say if, because so many different leagues with so many different directions and where they're taking battle rap, that one of them has to hit. Like it's basically statistically impossible. Well, I can't say impossible. It's statistically there's a low chance of these leagues not doing as good as they should do in the future. Like I see battle rap kind of expanding. They've already expanded to different countries. They've already expanded to different languages. There's a Filipino league. There's a Russian league that are doing way more numbers than in the States or in Canada. There's one in England, or what's the league? Don't Flop, I believe. There's a bunch of different leagues out there, and I could see it becoming a solidified sport. And like the URL started out as, not the URL, UFC started out as. UFC started out as like they were selling DVDs of their fights, and people were like, "Oh, it's dangerous. They don't have any rules." And then they started to put in rules. They started to make it seamless. They had the octagon. They had to get rid of all the different sponsors to stick with one. That kind of derailed them, but they just wanted to be uniform so that it could be a league, like how the NFL doesn't have like players wearing different names on their uniforms or whatever. They wanted it to be uniform, and I feel like if battle rap kind of gets that uniformity and like the rules and how the events are taking place, that people will be more comfortable in watching more of it. So I definitely see the future of battle rap being very bright, and I feel like this competition, we're gonna see where battle rap as a culture goes, depending on who wins. And URL is not that far ahead that another league, not even King of the Dot. I don't speak of on King of the Dot because I don't know that much about the company and stuff. I mainly watch URL and RBE, but King of the Dot is a huge fixture in rap, and they could overtake URL. RBE can overtake URL if it plays its chip, if ARP and the other owners play their chips right. So it's too soon to call, but I do see battle rap having a bright future. So I'm gonna end the video there. This was just a stream of thought. I didn't really organize this, but this is kind of my review on battle rap. It's kind of a current event on where battle rap is at the moment, and after this whole virus thing clears up, hopefully we'll see how these leagues bounce back from that. So thank you for watching. This is JC Reviews, and enjoy your day.